Halos will destroy your photos and they can easily slip into your edits if you're not doing things a certain way in Photoshop. So in this video, I'm showing you the fastest, easiest, and most effective way to get rid of them. And I'll show you the technique that's going to help you prevent them from happening in the first place 99% of the time. But first, why do halos appear anyway? Well, it's usually because of one of these three reasons. One is over sharpening, because too much sharpening or using the wrong sharpening method can cause these micro halos, which are going to make your photos look crunchy. Two, poorly done layer masking. So masking adjustments in or out in the wrong way is probably the most common way that halos are going to creep into your photos, because it's virtually impossible to get close enough to certain edges without going over them when brushing into your layer mask. And the third way that halos are going to find their way into your images without you possibly noticing is pushing Lightroom or Camera Raw sliders too far. For example, raising shadows and lowering highlights too far in Lightroom or Camera Raw can actually cause halos similar to over sharpening. Now, if you want to prevent these problems in the first place, I'll show you how in a second. But first, here are the exact steps you can follow to fix halos when they do appear. So here's an example image where I've created a nasty, exaggerated halo, partly for comic effect, but mostly so you can see it clearly in the video. Now, your halos shouldn't be anywhere near as bad as this, but that's why they're so sneaky, because they can actually be quite hard to spot until it's too late. So step one, add a new layer to your image, making sure it's on top of all of your other layers and adjustments, and then switch its blend mode to either darken or lighten. Now, for a regular halo, we need to choose darken, and for an anti-halo, you'll use the lighten blend mode, and we'll look at that in a second. But next, grab the clone stamp tool with a hardness value of 0, and a brush size that's about 2 to 3 times the width of the halo. Then make sure you have current and below selected in this sample drop down. And now here's where the magic happens. Sample a spot in the sky just next to the halo, and then just run the clone stamp tool all the way along the halo. And hey presto, halo gone without cloning over the edges. So now let me show you how to fix an anti-halo using the same process, but with the lighten blend mode. What the hell is an anti-halo anyway? Good question. Where a regular halo is a bright fringe around the outside of a dark object, an anti-halo is a dark fringe along the inside of that dark object, and sometimes it can actually look even worse than a regular halo. So to get rid of an anti-halo, set your new layer to the lighten blend mode, and instead of sampling the sky, sample the inside of the object. And then just like last time, clone away. But the question really is, how do you avoid halos appearing in the first place? So let me show you now. For speed, I'll demonstrate with my free luminosity masking plugin, which you can get from the link in the description and pinned comment. But I do have other videos on my channel that teach luminosity masking in depth if you don't want the free plugin. But let's assume that you want to do things the fast and easy way. First, let's say you have a sharpening adjustment that looks great in most of your image, but around some of the edges, it produces these crunchy looking halos. So to fix that, let's first add a layer mask to your sharpening layer. Then load a highlights luminosity selection from the plugin, which isolates the brightest pixels in the image. And then with a black brush, just brush over the halos into the layer mask. And the highlight selection is actually going to act like a stencil to make sure the brush only goes into the brightest areas, masking them out and hiding them from view. Now, the other two halo causing problems that I mentioned earlier, which were pushing highlight and shadow sliders too far and inaccurate layer masking, well, they can both be avoided by using luminosity masks when masking adjustments or bracketed exposures into your images. For example, if you want to make the shadows in this image brighter, instead of using sliders to do it, add an adjustment layer like a curves adjustment. Brighten the whole image with it, and then invert the layer mask with Command or Control I to hide the effect. Then load a shadows luminosity mask or stencil to brush through, and then brush with a white brush into the shadowy areas of the image to reveal the brightening effect with exponentially more accuracy than trying to get up close to those edges by hand. And halos aren't the only editing mistake that luminosity masking will help you prevent, so watch this next video to discover the many other ways that it can boost the quality of your editing.